Hello and welcome students to the FHSS digital class for Standard 8. Today we are going to do English 1, that is a prose piece. It is a short story called A Piece of String. Let us learn about the author, who is Guy de Maupassant. Guy de Maupassant, a writer of short stories and novels, is regarded as the greatest French short story writer. His 300 short stories often described the life of the lower and middle classes. Also, the purity of Maupassant's French and precision of his imagery are in fact the two features of his work that most account for its success. He often wrote stories about human selfishness, wickedness, spite, and greed. He was famous for his invention of a new, high-quality, commercial short story which has something to offer to all classes of readers. Let us know a little bit about the story. It is a tale of false accusation followed by the pointlessness or the futility of worrying over what others think of you, like Maitre Hodgkin did. Now students, what is the setting of the short story A Piece of String? It takes place in the late 1800s in the village of Goderville in Normandy, northern France. The majority of the action takes place on market day in the public square of the town. Since it was market day, there were throngs of people from all around the country. As the author mentions, from all the country around Goderville, the peasants and their wives were coming towards town. Moving on to the theme of the story, Maupassant's story is about inhumanity, thriftiness, and hypocrisy. It's Hodgkin's thriftiness which makes it impossible for him to pass up the piece of string on the ground, and he stoops down to pick it up. Now, what is the meaning of thriftiness? Thriftiness is the mentality of spending very less or not passing anything that seems to be useful to you. Secondly, this provides the opening for his enemy Malndine to accuse him falsely of the theft of the wallet. Hodgkin is brought before the mayor, and despite protests of innocence, everyone in the village believes that he is guilty, a belief that continues even after the wallet is found. It does not seem to matter if he did it or not. Hodgkin becomes an outcast and a laughingstock. Since we are so far into the video, we need to learn a little bit about the protagonist of the story A Piece of String. The protagonist is Maitre Hodgkin. He is a thrifty man. We already know by now the meaning of thrifty is using money and other resources a little too carefully and not wasting it. He also suffers from rheumatism. Now, what is rheumatism? It is any disease marked by inflammation and pain in the joints, muscles, or tissue. He does not let a discarded piece of string on the ground go waste. However, Maitre Hodgkin is too proud to allow his enemy see him pick it up. Unfortunately, his embarrassed reaction causes suspicion. When a wallet goes missing, Hodgkin is falsely accused of stealing it. He eventually becomes a laughingstock of the town as no one believes him and dies seeking justice to his name. Now is the time of the antagonist or the villain of the story. Maitre Malndine is Hodgkin's enemy. Malndine is a harness maker. Now, what is a harness? Harness is a set of straps and fitting by which a horse is fastened to a cart flower. According to the author, Horticorn and Melandine had once had a quarrel about a halter. Halter is harness, and they had borne each other malice ever since. So, when Melandine sees his enemy acting in a suspicious manner, he assumes the worst. Melandine tells city officials that he witnessed Horticorn picking up the wallet. Melandine represents the idea that we don't always see our enemies clearly. Moving on to the topic of irony of the story, we must first be clear regarding what exactly is irony. Irony is a storytelling tool used to create a contrast between how things seem and how they really are beneath the surface. The irony throughout this short story concerns the innocence of Maitre Horticorn and significance of the piece of string, which usually is a very insignificant object. Maitre Horticorn is a thrifty Norman peasant. He is accused of picking up Maitre Holbrook's pocketbook when he actually picked up a tiny piece of string. Horticorn's enemy, Maitre Melandine, saw him suspiciously pick up something and quickly accuses him of possessing the pocketbook. Horticorn spends the rest of the story trying to defend his innocence. Even after the pocketbook is returned, the villagers refuse to believe that Maitre Horticorn is innocent. It is ironic that an innocent man is considered guilty in the eyes of the villagers. That's all for this video. Thank you, students.